And we're live. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday, August 14th. It's Rod with POW Group. Thanks for joining us again for a daily market recap and joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. If you want to join us on the Pursuit of Wealth, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tick the little bell. You'll be notified on any future updates. We have a community. We have a great group of people with a bunch of technical analysts that are constantly got eyes on the market. So we share ideas, we share trade setups, we share market moving news, we share tons of different information that can help you as a trader, whether you're new or part-time or full-time. And the more eyes you have on the market, the better. So check us out at powgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com to find out more about our memberships. We do have a 1-week free trial, so you can try that out. So moving on, I want to highlight a few things here today. I'm going to switch up the format. This is an end of day review. I have about an hour left of the day before the markets close in the stock market. And I'm going to share my screen and we'll take a look at the title of the video. So Walmart adds crypto cashback. This isn't the first time that we've seen some new development regarding blockchain and crypto and Walmart. So very cool to see some mainstream adoption in the space. So as the title reads here, Walmart adds crypto cashback through shopping loyalty platform StormX. You can read this on your own time or pause the video, but essentially it's going to be offered through Walmart worldwide, and we're confident that users will take advantage of the rewards program. So essentially there's over 650 partners, which include Microsoft, eBay, Nike, Adidas, Target, Dell, Samsung through StormX. And it says it's distributed more than $2 million so far to users and members. In June, Walmart's Chinese subsidiary, VeChain, also partnered with the behemoth to basically offer food tracing product. Again, nice for the space as a whole to be getting some mainstream adoption. Here we have a graph of, this is Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and BAT. So I have positions, I'm swinging positions in all of these coins at the moment. Ethereum's absolutely exploding today. We can see that we have a little bit of an ascending triangle here. We have the horizontal resistance line and the upward sloping support line, which would be indicative of a ascending triangle. We have all around strong moves in the space. BAT's consolidating here. I entered a BAT position back at 25 cents here on this consolidation when we formed that little base of support. That's the 26. So right here, when we had this little dump here, I entered in the high 25 cents. So I'm still riding that position. I have a stop below 25 cents. I wanted some exposure to basic attention token, and I'll go over that one more in just a moment. But you can check out our YouTube channel. You'll see an icon for the Brave browser icon. And it's actually made by the same creators as Firefox, and he also created JavaScript, which is basically built, the whole internet is built off of. Moving on to Bitcoin, so we'll start with a crypto review. We'll start with the granddaddy Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, we see we have a little bit of a channel here forming on the 5-minute. So we saw some bullish moves to the upside this morning, and we have a channel on watch. So we're pulling back from this resistance here on the 5-minute. We're just looking to set a 5-minute higher low. So we did change the 5-minute trend with a lower high and lower low, but it's not convincing because we don't have much of a follow through. So we zoom out and we look for a potential flag, and that could still be the case. We've seen a little bit more of a pullback than we would like, but the psychology still remains. So watching Bitcoin here, it's basically just following the rest of the market right now. Moving on to Ethereum. Ethereum had an absolute monstrous move as well. So we were at the 424 level earlier on today before we saw a huge leg up, clearing all resistances, 5%. We have a ascending triangle that I drew earlier on watch. We use the real bodies of the candles. Ignore those wicks. This is what I'd be watching right now to get a sense of direction. So it looks like it's wanting to break bearish here. So 440, we do have a lack of resistance though up at these levels. So we cleared the 384 level, 364 level, sorry. And we have a lack of resistance up here until the $800 mark. On the monthly chart, bulls are in full control. We still haven't changed the monthly trend. So we haven't set a higher low and a higher high. So I know a lot of people talk about uptrends and downtrends, and it sounds confusing. It's really not that confusing. So because we didn't form a higher low is just whenever you break the low of the previous candle within a range, and you see some consolidation, which means it breaks the low of the previous candle, and you see a continuation move higher to a higher high. But we haven't seen that yet. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months with a higher low every candle. So now we're going to, so if you're a bull, as long as there's no major red flags right yet. If we zoom into the weekly RSI is super hot at the moment. It's currently at 81. So bulls are still in full control, but how much is really left in the tank, I wonder, at these RSI levels. Again, we know that when we have huge explosive and euphoric moves, RSI isn't as important to depend on, but certainly on watch, can't go sleeping on that either. So if we look at the monthly, so for bulls that are in positions, maybe you want to start exiting or trimming when we lose the low of the previous candle. If you're a long-term investor, if you're not already in a position, maybe you want to wait for a daily higher low. Maybe you want to wait for a weekly higher low. So we had a daily higher low back here. So our new daily higher low is formed, and it is set at 362.88. And this is by Coinbase. Sorry, you could have entered off a play of that once that broke. You could have entered with a stop below that daily higher low. That's just one way you could do it. So again, multiple different ways you can take profits. You can ride it out. It's all going to depend if you're a long-term investment or if it's a short-term. Moving on from Ethereum, let's take a look at Litecoin. I'm not going to do all of the coins here, guys. I'll certainly cover anything else. If you want to leave in the comments below, if you have any coins that you're looking at that you want covered, certainly drop me a message in the comments below. And Litecoin is lagging a little bit here. So Litecoin is still trying to form a higher low. It actually could be setting a daily lower high, but we'll have to watch for the hourly trend to see if that's lost. If the hourly trend is lost, that increases the probability that our daily higher low is set. But then we'll zoom out to the 4-hour. 4-hour, we did change the 4-hour trend. So it could be the daily higher low is set. But again, if we lose the 4-hour, we lose the hourly, that'll give us indication that the odds of our daily lower high is set. If we lose the 4-hour, then we're very confident that our daily lower high is set. So that's Litecoin. Riot seeing a nice move today in response to the strength in crypto. We have Cardano as well. Cardano's been huge gains since the lows, like absolutely huge. So if we look here, it was back at 1 cent in the COVID lows and has since rallied about 800%, 700 to 800%. Whether or not we're topping out here, it certainly is possible. We have a lot of upper wicks here. Certainly, I've already trimmed. I've already jumped ship on Cardano. I've got a position in Bitcoin. I got a position, long-term position in Ethereum, Litecoin, basic attention token. I got a little bit of XRP, but definitely a longer term hold for me, and only about 1 to 2% of my net worth in that at the moment. So moving on from crypto, we want to cover a couple of market moving news articles here. So yesterday we saw that the Senate leaves until September without coronavirus relief. So this is really starting to spark a lot of worry. There's a lot of negative headlines right now circulating the internet about the state of the economy, especially in the US, seeing talks of a second wave. We're seeing the economy starting to slow down. We're seeing unemployment and GDP, and Warren Buffett, so many other huge names in the space are calling for a drop. Some people are saying that we could drop right back to the March lows, if not worse. So not to spread FUD or fear or anything like that, but this is something that I've been noticing a lot lately, is that we're starting to see a lot more narrative regarding negativity. Partially, I think that is due to insider selling and people just wanting to buy back cheaper, buy the dip, or potentially this is distribution up at these levels. We also saw that Canada and US close the border until at least September 21st. That's going to hurt GDP. That's going to hurt tourism that's going to hurt a lot of things. So again, it's not, it doesn't look like this is going away anytime soon. COVID-19 peaks and valleys expected until 2022, another example. One thing I wanted to mention as well, don't forget that today is the day before the talks are supposed to resume with China and the US. So we saw an article about this, I think it was back on the 5th of August, yep. So we can potentially start to see maybe a little bit of a drop off in SPY, and there it is. So maybe people are anticipating some geopolitical tensions over the weekend. We just hit 5-minute oversold on SPY. You may want, so people are, this is monthly options expiry today as well. So a lot of people are thinking, you know, potentially they don't want to hold over the weekend. There's a lot of negative news headlines circulating right now. There's the US and China tensions, which are heating up. We recently saw that China was retaliating and said that they were not done with the retaliations based over the WeChat and TikTok banning from Mr. Trump. So SPY here, basically chop fest for the last few days before we saw that pullback here on the 11th. So we're still range bound, we're still chopping around. We are seeing some heavy sell pressure here into the end of the day. But let's look at the daily. So we had an inside bar. There was a lot of inside bars on watch, and you can see that we're heading to the low of the day, and we're potentially going to break the low of yesterday. If that happens, then obviously daily consolidation is still underway. We're going to zoom into the hourly, and the hourly will be our guide. We'll look to see whether or not there's been any hourly trend change. If there's an hourly trend change, then we can start to be confident that our daily higher low has been set. But as of right now, we're starting to see some profit taking into the weekend, into these trade talks with China and the US. So it'll be interesting to see how we close out the day here in the next few minutes. We'll check back in on that in just a bit. So moving on, QQQ, seeing a down day today. We saw that Apple and Amazon, Microsoft all down. They were down about a percent at one point. So QQQ seeing some pullback. We'll go to the healthcare sector. Healthcare sector pulling back as well, near the low of the day. At the low of the day, still hasn't broken the low of yesterday. So that's something that we're keeping an eye on. It looks like there's been a lot of rotation lately has been going into XLF and XLE. I'd be surprised if, yeah, XLE as well. So XLF, we have some rotation going on into XLF, so that looks stronger than SPY, but we see it's also pulling back here at the end of the day. So we'll see if this selling pressure ramps up. We don't have any support here, so this could get a little extreme here on XLF. And if XLF is the horse that they've been pumping to keep SPY up, things could get pretty interesting. There's no support down here to the $25 psychological level, so we could flush through that depending on the momentum that we see behind this move. XLE is pulling back as well, not at the low of the day yet. XBI pulling back, low of the day, just barely broke the low of yesterday, almost a bearish engulfing candle. We could be seeing on gold a lower high being set, rejecting from EMA 12 resistance, acting as resistance and pulling back. We poked above a couple of times. So that's our daily. We'll zoom into the hourly. Hourly, still in an hourly downtrend. We have lower highs and lower lows. 4 hours, still in a 4-hour uptrend. Low, high, higher, low, higher, high, looking to form the higher low. So we'll zoom into the 15-minute and we'll look to set another higher low and higher high. So gold definitely cooling off, but it has seen quite a decent recovery from the bounce off of the recent low on the 11th, which is down at 1860s. Silver pulling back a lot more than gold currently. We're starting to see some selling pressure there. That could be our daily, that came a lot closer to the highs. So that could be setting up for more of an equilibrium type of scenario, or we could see our daily lower high and lower low and change the daily trend. Again, we'll zoom into the 4-hour. We're just looking for a 4-hour higher low at this point. Previous support, 25.12, and resistance is 27.74. So those are levels that we're watching on silver. Oil saw some notable weakness today. We broke the low of yesterday. We dipped below EMA 12, but we found some support. Now we're bouncing a little bit on the oil chart. We'll zoom into the 4 hour. So we got an equilibrium forming here on the 4 hour. So we're definitely keeping an eye on this into the weekend and the end of the day. Moving on from there, we took a look at SPY, just checking back in here again. We see that we're bouncing a little bit. The 5-minute bounce is yet to be underway, but we'll keep an eye. Definitely a decent bounce. We'll just expect a lower high here. So when we do bounce on the 5-minute, we'll expect an hourly lower high. SMH semiconductors, did we break the low of yesterday? No, but we are approaching the low of the day. IWM, Russell 2000, broke the low of yesterday, but we're definitely bouncing with the rest of the market here as well. IWM, looking for a 4-hour higher low. If we have extended hours on, hourly chart, we're in a hourly downtrend. Zooming in on the 15-minute, so we came close to resistance and backed off, but in my opinion, I think a lot of this is attributed to people trimming into the weekend, and we will have to see how the bulls close out the day. We got 32 minutes left, so good luck to everybody. And we'll check back in just a moment on the broader sectors. We saw that Tesla had an upgrade today, Bank of America. We also saw that a few other companies that upgraded it as well, but they see an 8% upside, which would bring the share price to $17.50 from $800 on their previous price target. So if we take a look at the Tesla chart, we can see here that we have a bit of a daily ascending triangle, which is bullish. So you have the horizontal line of resistance if we ignore those wicks, and the it's not a perfect ascending triangle, but the psychology is there. So we could be seeing the consolidation completing and the Tesla bulls running to new highs, and I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. We could also see some S&P 500 uplift news, so keep that in your memory bank as well. But other than that, Tesla bulls still in full control. They're pulling back a little bit here with the rest of the overall market and QQQ. Hexo. So I had a trade on Hexo yesterday. I'm still swinging that position. So as I mentioned, I entered one position in the 69-cent level on the US ticker. And I was also watching the daily on the inside bar break. So as you can see here, on this inside bar, I noticed we had an inside bar. So I entered off of the low of support at 69 cents. And then we broke it. Obviously, we saw the news. Not every time an inside bar is going to break bullish like that, you get news behind it, but tailwinds for the stock. And now we're seeing a daily inside bar. So we're just in a price discovery mode. So to recap my trade from yesterday, I entered on the 69-cent level. As I saw we gapped up 10, 15%, I sold half that position at the 80-cent level. I sold another half percent of that position at the rest of it at 82. We hit 83. I knew we had resistance at 82 and 86. So I expected, based on the size of the move, that we probably see some consolidation and looking for an hourly higher low. So we did form our hourly higher low today at the 75-cent level. So I rebought back on the entry of the 77. So I sold my position from the 69s. I doubled down and I re-entered on the 77 level, which was the 50-day moving average. And at the end of the day, I sold half when we got back up here to the 82-cent level again, which I also knew was resistance. And I held half that position. Today we had a little bit of a pullback, but I wasn't shaken out. As long as we were holding that EMA 12 support, that's what I was using as my guide. You can see here it's been guiding it quite well, but I knew that there's usually a fake out before the breakout, so I held on to that position. I had quite a bit of cushion from the selling from the 69% in the 80 and 82, and then doubling down and then selling half at the 81 cent, 82 cent level again. So I was able to swing that without any worries. And as you can see, we came right back up to the top of that equilibrium, and I'm still holding that position as we still haven't seen any meaningful press release or anything. And I also noticed that the VP of product development, Mr. Smith, he put a tweet on Twitter saying that the drinks were available on the SQDC. And since then, the post has been removed. So a lot of people are speculating, but they did this with the vapes when the vapes were being announced. So they're probably just waiting for the product to be rolled out to multiple stores across the country before making an official press release. Because the last thing they want to do is make a press release and people get excited and then realize that it's not available in their area, right? So they want to, nothing to worry about in my opinion. So as we can see, Hexo is just bouncing around here. We had that equilibrium. So we had a high, low, lower, high, higher, low, mini bull break into a bear break back into this range. And we had another little bull break. We have some increasing bull volume. Now we have decreasing bear volume. I wouldn't be surprised to see a move into next week. A break of this inside bar is going to be very telling. Today, take a look at the volume. Yesterday, monstrous volume, 51 million. Today we're at 17. 7 the day before that. So the average volume is 7. I think today it's up to about 12. So moving on from there, we have, and then the Trust Beverages, you can keep an eye on this website. So this is the joint venture, Trust Beverages and Molson Coors with Hexo. So just keep an eye on trustbeverages.com. When they have updates, you'll be able to see it on there. So you'll have a decent idea that they're fully rolled out, and keep an eye on that. We also saw some pictures online. So here's a couple of pictures I noticed just circulating. I haven't tried them yet personally, but very nice looking bottles, and I can't wait to try them. A lot of people are saying that the Molo is more geared towards men because it tastes more like a beer, and the others, so the House of Terpenes, are more catered to the women. Obviously, that's not the case. They're unisex, but a lot of people that I saw online, a lot of the men were saying that they really love the beer. So I for one am more of a beer guy. I can't wait to try this Molo 5.0. And if you do try it, let me know in the comments below what you think. Can't wait to get my hands. I'll probably be buying quite a few. Hopefully the stock is plentiful, because I definitely want to get, and there's been a lot of good reviews on the House of Terpenes as well. Lemon was the least favorite, but yeah, so if you have tried those, let me know in the comments below. I'd be excited to hear about your thoughts on that. We'll jump into some other MJ names. So I'll cover ACB. It's up 4% today. I haven't seen any news. We're still rejecting though from the daily EMA 12, which has been acting as resistance. So if you're considering a position in Aurora, again, this isn't financial advice. Do your own research. All investments have risk, but I personally wouldn't be trading this name at the moment. It's in a daily downtrend. It's in quite a prolonged daily downtrend. If we take our line here and we draw this pattern, we can see we have a little bit of a falling wedge, but honestly, I'm not interested in Aurora until we break above that and close above that EMA, 26 has been not 12, that's been acting as resistance. So if you take a look, it's been acting, we poked above just a bit, but we haven't in how many days now? It has been 29 days, 21 trading days, and we haven't seen a close above that. So bulls can say, if you're looking for an entry, we do have increasing bull volume here, but bulls can say, unless we close and you know, maybe we come and we back test that and confirm it as support prior to entering long, that would be another option as well. If we look at CGC, not really doing much of anything. Could potentially see a daily bear flag here, rejecting at EMA 26 resistance as well. Take a look at the weekly. We have a weekly inside bar, so weekly inside bar on watch. Take a look at the hourly. We've just been a straight fade from the earnings. The only real play here is a play off of, you could technically play off of 16 89 support, 1660. Personally, I'm not that interested in Canopy Growth or Aurora or any of the big names. APHA, very similar. Canadian MJ just hasn't had the oomph that everyone thought it was going to have. So it's certainly not what everybody expected. And we'll take a look at the US side in just a minute, but definitely a laggard. We could potentially be setting a monthly higher low. So I'm personally not in any other positions other than Hexo at the moment. And we'll see how Hexo closes into the end of the day. So Trulieve, absolutely rocket ship today as well. So we saw a higher low and a higher high. So we have a new daily higher low now set at 27.98. And we hit a high of 35, and that would be the all-time high for the stock. So congrats to the bulls. They are sure in full control and no red flags whatsoever, increasing. We do have that wick on the top. We also have a little bit of a wick on the bottom. We'll have to see how we start the week next week. Did we lose the hourly trend? No, we have not. So we're still looking for an hourly higher low. Until we lose the hourly trend, we're not going to be confident that the consolidation is underway. If we zoom into the 5-minute, we see we're in a 5-minute downtrend. So we have a 5-minute lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And we're just looking to potentially double bottom off of the 32.13 level. So see if the bulls can form a base of support there. We could also be forming head and shoulders. So keep that in mind as well. It looks something like this. Generally, through classical technical analysis theory, head and shoulders are bearish. So we'll take a look. Oxley is another one I wanted to cover. This stock is absolutely getting crushed. It's currently at the lows of the March lows. So if you're in this name, just remember it can always go lower. You don't always have to make the money back in the stock that you lost it in. So again, not financial advice. This isn't a recommendation to buy or sell, but it's, everybody's situation is different. If you do want to join us for a 7-day free trial, come check us out, and we can share with you, what we would do in a scenario like that, and you can bounce ideas off the rest of the group. We're more than happy to do, analysis. If you have any tickers or stocks that you guys are following, drop them in the comments below. So we did see here that Oxley's just been getting destroyed. We had a little bit of momentum here where we crossed the 10-week moving average, and it's just been on a steady decline. So personally, I wouldn't be interested in this stock until we close above the 28-cent level and hold. You can see here that the daily 50-day moving average is also 28. We're well below that. Weekly 50 moving averages is all the way up at 50. So bearing any news or anything like that, obviously the stock could pump hard based on how much it's sold off, but that's not a winning strategy in my opinion, is hoping for news. So another thing I wanted to highlight, Hexo is starting to show some signs of resurgence. So if we take a look here at Hexo on the weekly time frame, you can see that the 10-period moving average, we're crossing through that. We're currently at 78 cents. Let's take a look at Hexo. So we're seeing a little bit of pullback here toward the end of the day, still within that range, that EQ range. So as long as we can close above the 75-cent level, that's bullish. And we also see that the MACD trending up, and we also see that the stochastic is crossing bullish as well. We are getting very close. It's basically flatlining, but we need to see that. We want to see these bulls close over 75 to be confident for a long-term swing. We'll take a look at Hexo on the daily. So the 50-day moving average at 77. Again, that was my entry off that support yesterday. When I entered at the 69-cent level on that inside bar bull break, I also had the 100-day moving average at 68 as support. So you always want to have as many check boxes ticked off in your favor. Again, if there's anything else that you guys want covered, if there's any ideas, anything that you can do to help me make this channel better and help me help you, please leave me a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content and like the video. It shows me a lot of support. Again, it's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks for joining us today for a end of day review and daily market recap. And look forward to seeing anyone who wants to join us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys you might see me again on the weekend. I may have an update for you. If not, we'll see you on Monday. Enjoy and take care, everybody. Stay safe.